Buenos días, bienvenidos, bienvenidas.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome. We are going to start with the second session, second day of this first European Symposium on Aporophobia, which started yesterday afternoon here at the hemicycle at La Merced campus at the University of Murcia, and which will go on until the afternoon today. I would like to remind you and also welcome all persons present here and also those following us and participating online. And welcome to all of them. Following us through the channel established by the University of Murcia.
Asistir de forma no presencial, también les pedimos que participen, porque este simposio consiste en eso, en la participación, en la escucha activa y en tomar la palabra, que tomarán, si lo desean, en cada uno de los paneles que se van a desarrollar durante esta jornada. El hashtag que estamos utilizando, si quieren compartir algunos de los testimonios, palabras que llamen la atención, posiciones, es Actívate contra la pobreza, ante cualquier tipo de referencia que quieran hacer a este simposium. Y durante la jornada de hoy, pues vamos a transitar, me gusta mucho la palabra transitar, tiene mucho que ver con lo que somos, ¿no? Personas de tránsito. Vamos a transitar diferentes paneles, cuadros de diálogo, vamos a tener concretamente 3, también vamos a tener talleres de participación, de comunicación, para intentar realizar un mapa acerca de la aporofobia desde diferentes perspectivas. Ayer teníamos el interesante diálogo entre Oliver de Schutter y Adela Cortina, después de ese primer posicionamiento desde el punto de vista del activismo y el trabajo del relator de la ONU y de la creadora y madre filosófica del concepto aporofobia. Hoy vamos a contar cómo se aterriza en diferentes perspectivas para ir haciendo ese mapa que no solamente es conceptual, sino que es de aportación común. Como siempre, vamos a continuar con este diálogo compartido, agradecer a todo el equipo técnico que están aquí trabajando, a EAPN España y a EAPN Región de Murcia, que bueno, todos ellos y todas ellas hacen posible el desarrollo de este simposio, donde nombramos aporofobia por su nombre y, como decíamos ayer, conscientes que decir es hacer. Así que vamos a comenzar ya a hacer. Empezamos con el primer panel. Voy a ir llamando a los y las interlocutores e interlocutoras. El procedimiento será el mismo, una mesa redonda donde yo les dirigiré preguntas totalmente particulares a ellos y a ellas. Luego haremos un diálogo, debate entre las 4 personas y dejaremos el tiempo necesario para la intervención de los y las asistentes y las personas que nos siguen de forma online.
And the online participants. So we are going to start, and I would like to welcome.
Leeré o comentaré algo de sus currículums. Siempre, como dije ayer, los currículums vitales son muy extensos. Lo académico no siempre refleja la trayectoria personal. Resumidamente los iré también presentando a nuestros interlocutores. Damos la bienvenida a María Jesús Raimundo, fiscal adscrita de la Unidad de Delitos contra el Odio y Discriminación de la Fiscalía General del Estado. Buenos días. Puede posicionarse en la mesa.
Decir ella que desde Crimes and Discrimination and working from 1998, specialized in violence against women and belonging to the hate and discrimination crimes. And we have she has worked there for 27 years in these topics. Thank you for being here. I would like to welcome to Sara Cortés, Regional Director of the Roma People Secretariat in the region of Murcia. Thank you for your positioning. She has a degree in social studies and specialized at the University in Navarra, president of EAPN until last year, and now she is the president of the Secretariado Gitano in Murcia, and she has a golden medal. And I needed to say that. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I would like to welcome Marco, professor in the University of Murcia. An applause, maybe, please, with a degree in political sciences, and now he's working as a professor in sociology and social work. And as Longinos said, the vice rector yesterday, the University of Murcia is very important working with aporophobia in this case. And also Jose María García, welcome, and Civil Guard. Thank you very much for being here. María is she is a civil guard, and well, she broke a lot of prejudices, and she usually helps in the security forces to speak of all the topics, the innovative topics. I'm going to sit down and we're going to start. And this is how I'm going to proceed. I'm going to ask several questions to each of you, and please try to be precise because we don't have a lot of time. And then we will start with a debate. Panel discussion, and you can start as you wish. We are going to start with María Jesús Raimundo, the public prosecutor. Good morning. I would like to ask you, Spain is a pioneer country launching legislation focusing on aporophobia and its impact as a hate crime. I would like to ask you how this process has been developed and in which measure this could be extended to the European legislation. Well, tell us, please. I know you have a presentation for today, so please. Thank you very much. Lucía, well, I would like to thank myself too, all the attendants for being here, and the University of Murcia, and I am very grateful to be here with Miguel Ángel Aguilar, the main representative. We are both very grateful, and we are glad to answer all the questions. And I brought here a small presentation, and we can show you some guidelines on how we work. I would also thank Lucía because she said I've been 27 years in this specialty. Well, I've been 27 years as a public prosecutor since 1998, but this specialty I've been here for 3 years. I'd like to say I've been able to work as a public prosecutor in different fields, and this is the most important professional moment for me because we can help a lot of people from my public service as public prosecutors, and this is the best that happened to me as a professional in my whole trajectory. And now I'm going to start with my presentation. As Lucía was asking, well, I'm going to explain a little bit also of what we were speaking with Adela yesterday. She spoke a lot about the concept and how you fit the concept of aporophobia, its causes, its effects, and why some inequalities lead to situations where you break the human rights. And some people having prejudices and bias can feel that they are superior, and for economical reasons they can feel superior, and also the reasons why these persons disregard these types of people. We don't want to see this reality, or we think these persons are going to they are not going to succeed. And it is interesting to know all this, to implement the laws, the legislation. The tools mentioned yesterday, among the tools mentioned yesterday, we were talking about some tools to fight aporophobia, and I'm going to speak of these tools. I'm not only going to mention them, but I'm going to explain them. They explain this sense. And we have a framework at an international, national, and regional level, and also jurisprudence level. I would like to say that we have condemnation and for these crimes, and now we have more tools to give these crimes a relation with aporophobia. Since the year 48, we have the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights, and the Agreement of Rome, and the Convention, American Convention on Human Rights, and the Chart of Fundamental Rights of the European Union. Sometimes they speak of property, of heritage, and all these agreements and international legislation lead us to foster the principle of dignity, and most of all, not breaking the human rights. And I would like to speak to you of the possibility to foster equality, and then we have to ban or prohibit discrimination. So those are legislations, different legislations. And one thing is punishing those who discriminate. And well, we have an international framework deriving from what I'm going to explain. The national laws in Spain are pioneer if we compare us to other countries in Europe. In the Spanish Constitution, the Articles 10 and 14 talk of equality, no discrimination, and the right to dignity. And we don't have to forget this word, because some professionals think sometimes that when you insult somebody, you are just insulting, but you are breaking their dignity. Our penal code had a development because the aporophobia arrived in 2021 with the Integral Protection Law for Childhood. And in the Article 22.4, they speak of hate crimes. And there are two of them, which are the ones that we use the most. The hate speech, and also judges, and we are speaking of the hate speech, so that people discriminate for the reasons of humiliating and dismissing them for the fact of being different, and they think that the different or the people who are begging should be killed. This is a very basic example, but it is important to remember it. And the penal code, in the terms I've been mentioning in this slide, I would like to focus on something important. yesterday I wanted to speak, but well, in the regional laws, you can watch some incidents, hate incidents, and there's another example. It's not the same to make an infringement than killing somebody when you are driving. And there are some incidents, and there is an administrative sanction, but then you go to the court, and with a trial, then this person will be condemned or not. And I would like to mention the law of Catalonia, because they mentioned the term aporophobia, and then I found also a law in Galicia from the year 23 for men and women, and in its article 81 they refer to eradication of aporophobia. The measures adopted by the legislation will be designed and applied taking into account the impact that aporophobia has and poverty on women, and mostly old women. And I would like to speak of the person, the lady who was talking yesterday about this, and we are going towards European common legislation. This would be ideal, but there are movements since the year 2013 in the European Council in December. We are speaking of creating measures and common strategies, protection to victims and education. And I have to say, in spite of that, that in the reasons of discrimination, the discussion and all these forums created focus on racism and xenophobia. So we have also aporophobia, disability, which have not been addressed really, and we would need to include them in the catalogue of hate crimes, all of them. That's why within the protection that we can give, we should start saying what is a hate crime. In the last recommendations from last year, 2024, this was a penal crime with a hate element based on one or more characteristics, and hate includes bias and also characteristics or personal conditions in a non-exhaustive way regarding race, color, and language, etc. There's a lot of debate around this, because in these laws we would like to implement them, and if it is not within the legislation, if the crime is not specifically included within the articles, it is very difficult for us to show that there is aporophobia, and this is a crime hate, a crime of hate. I have some examples, and it has to do with our tools in the penal code now, and also the will to create a common code in the European Union. But there are some crimes considered at the European level as crime. We have a problem. They have not yet been included, and the dignity is not the same in all countries. The Article 87 of the European Union says that a crime could be considered a real crime if it is considered a crime in all the countries, and it is not the case at present.
Ursula von der Leyen said that the possibility of unifying needs a qualified majority, but this is still being debated, and so hate crimes is not catalogued as part of the crimes of the European Union. That's why we need directives. And the legal approach would be to create a number of instruments that would be compulsory for the different countries to change their legislation. In 2012, there was a directive that provoked then for Spain to create the Statute of the Victim in 2015. So these directives, where hate crimes are recognized and defined, and where aporophobia is also defined, would be key to introduce a way to address generally these situations. So I have also prepared an exposition about underreporting, but perhaps I can leave this to Lucía. Yeah, let's do something. Let's leave this presentation. Let's freeze this presentation. Let's continue with the rest of the presentations of our colleagues, and then we speak about underreporting, because I think that's also very important, and perhaps it's connected with what Lucía can tell us. Do you agree? Because I think it is very much connected with what the rest of the panelists are going to offer in the debates. So let's do that. This can be a starting point for the discussion. Thank you. So Sara Cortés, as a director of the Roma Secretariado Gitano in Murcia, I want to ask you a question just to start a conversation between the four of us. What is the role of the third sector in the fight against aporophobia, the civil society sector, and also what actions have been carried out from this sector, and also from the Roma Secretariat where you work, in terms of so that we can connect aporophobia and your organization. Thank you, Lucía. Yeah, good morning to everyone. I would like to start by sharing the pride that I feel and the honor of sharing this panel with these amazing professionals, people who have been and who are working together to fight against aporophobia. And also, I would like to thank EAPN Spain, EAPN Region of Murcia, that have organized this event that gives an opportunity both at the European level and regional level for the topic to be addressed extensively, sensitively, and comprehensively. As I said, I share what the prosecutor has said. Is it better? Yeah. As I said, I would like to add myself to the words of María Jesús, the public prosecutor, or the prosecutor. Yesterday we had a very interesting presentations, both with Adela and Oliver, and these presentations remind us the importance of addressing the term aporophobia from different perspectives. Yesterday we heard this philosophical, ethical, moral, and legal perspective of the term aporophobia. And today, as Lucía has said, my role is to show you the concrete reality of the third sector and the social organizations, and also from my experience as a director of the Roma Secretariat in the region of Murcia. The civil society organizations have a strategic role in the fight against aporophobia, but within these roles, because of time constraints, in this strategic role, we have three actions. First, we can speak about the role of the third sector as defense of the people in situation of vulnerability. These social organizations are a strategic actor in the defense of the rights of the people in situation of poverty and vulnerability. Now, the work of the third sector organizations have been key to make aporophobia visible as a form of structural discrimination, something that the prosecutor has already spoken about. The third sector organizations are in direct and daily contact with people in situations of poverty. Let's say, see the different phases of inequality. Every day we accompany families and communities in the framework of our community work, people who are in situations of vulnerability. Now, this work that we do with these families, this direct and daily work, makes it possible for us to see the different gaps, the different phases of the inequality. So what is the inequality in concrete terms? And now, from this point of view, the organizations have articulated these political claims, but also the third sector organizations have not stayed also at the level of condemnation and reporting. We also work to, let's say, break the views, the prejudiced views that are at the basis of aporophobia. Now, we also work as a bridge between organizations and the citizens. Between the institutions and the citizens. I would also like to say in concrete terms, as bridges between the rights and the compliance of those rights in this parts of the society that need them. We also accompany hundreds of people in situations of poverty so that they can access effectively to goods, resources, etc. And this, we do it because these social organizations work in the field. We work in the neighborhoods, we work in education centers, we work with key actors, we are at the heart of families, and we also accompany the pain of human beings when climate catastrophes happen. And also we accompany all kinds of situations, whether they are Roma families, homelessness, all kinds of violence, the situations of liberty deprivation and sexual violence, many different areas where we work to connect the inequalities that people suffer with the institutions. And in this role, what we have also done is to strengthen the organization, the institutions themselves, because when the third sector organizations act as bridges between what happens on a daily basis to families and the institutions, what we do is to help the system to work better, more efficiently, and also more humanely. And now we have a third role as social organizations, which is the role of critical and analytical observers. So we are observers, but not just like passive observers. Social organizations are critical observers of the reality of poverty and inequality that we have and upon which we act daily. We analyze, we document, we also report all the gaps that we see in the access to rights and resources in people with situation of poverty. And we do it with a preemptive approach. our work in the field allow us to expose situations that are happening with a sense of anticipation, to be able to sound an alarm, because we are in the field, we know what's happening, and this critical capacity we have is connected not only with making a diagnosis of the situation that we observe, but also allow us to create concrete proposals connected with our direct experience. We create modes of action, so that we can orient the action of the totality of the social agents. Lucía also asked me, what actions have been carried out, and how has the third sector been organized around these actions? Well, in order to fight aporophobia, the third sector have always been there. We've always been in the first line of the battle, so to speak. We've always been very coherent in the sense that we always thought that we need to give a structural, sustainable, and coordinated response. Here in the screen, you can see how from the third sector we have promoted different kinds of actions. Direct intervention actions with an approach or addressing rights. I would like to say how we have been designing comprehensive attention programs that work on the empowerment of the people, so that this affects the community development not only of the person, but also of the neighborhood and the entire community. Now, we're also been developing political and legal incidence actions. I'm just gonna touch on the legislative reforms we have promoted from our sector, such as including aporophobia in the penal code, but also the acknowledgement of the socio-economical situation in different laws. In the year 2021, the penal code recognized aporophobia as a specific form of discrimination. And in Article 22.4, this is reflected as one of the causes of aggravation of the crime. And we have also accompanied the comprehensive law of equal treatment and non discrimination that recognizes the prohibition of discrimination due to socioeconomic factors. It's true that this law speaks about socioeconomic factors, and the penal code includes aporophobia. But the global framework is that the third sector organizations have contributed to the creation of these proposals. We've been in the parliamentary sessions, and we have participated in social mobilization, so that these forms of discrimination is not excluded from the legal documents. We have also accompanied, we have created impact evaluations on the minimum income. And these actions and these evaluations have been taken to the Ministry of Inclusion, so that they are taken into consideration to see how this tool is directed to the people that really need it. And then on a third step, there are many strategic legal tools that we use to produce changes in the legal framework and in the public policies, starting from daily cases that we see on the ground when we assist people who are victims of discrimination. The strategic litigation allow us for a transmission of legal rights from the European framework to the Spanish system. And we thus raise awareness of the different crimes that are committed. And also, we have also carried out training and awareness-raising actions through, for example, through EAPN, both in at the state and regional level. And now there's also intersectional workspaces, because we know that fighting aporophobia needs to be done with an intersectional approach, and we have made alliances with law enforcement agencies, with media, with universities, with everyone, so that we can address aporophobia. Here in the region of Murcia, we have the Observatory of Hate Crimes that has been recently inaugurated, and this is a consequence of this intersectional action. And in this intersectional approach, we have addressed aporophobia by including also all the dimensions such as age, gender, or race. An example of this can be some benefit that we have within the social policy local ministry, and this is for local framework for participation. And what you see in it is an intersectional approach to see how this legal framework is created. I think that's all. Well, thank you very much for this map. Now, let's give the floor to Marcos Bote. He's a professor of sociology and the University of Murcia and in the Office of Social Aid. And he works in the public university. I would like to also refer to the works of Longinos. The university as a social elevator that gives opportunity for social mobilization, social mobility. And I'd like to know how the university would like to know the role of the university in fighting aporophobia. Yes, good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you for the invitation. Congratulations to EAPN for hosting this event, and thank you for inviting us to be here, and particularly in this panel. Now, given that we don't have so much time, I would like to start by contextualizing where we are, not only the University of Murcia, but the higher education institutions, let's say the academia, as it is often called. The academia, from the point of view of our legitimacy, we are entering into a crisis of legitimacy. And this crisis of legitimacy of knowledge is happening perhaps in the universities in America, where the phenomenon is more obvious and the situation is more polarized than in Europe. But slowly we see how this is also coming to universities in Europe. When the leader of the most important, let's say, nations of the world manifests without any kind of shame, states with any kind of shame, that the consumption of a certain drug is the cause, the direct cause of a health condition. I think you all know what I'm referring to here. Well, he does that not only by challenging, but also denying scientific evidence that goes in the opposite direction. And I repeat, this is by the leader of one of the most important nations of the world. This kind of behavior towards science and knowledge enter the society. And so you're legitimizing these positions. Yeah, when a person of authority makes these declarations, you legitimize these behaviors. Yesterday, I heard something connected to what we are talking today. He was a professor of the University of Murcia who referred to a European study that showed a social reality. There were two other people sharing the panel with her, and one of them said, I will not deny this scientific study, but the best study is the one that I do on the street. And when I say on the street, this is not about the work that social organizations do on the ground. But he referred to his personal opinion of what he thinks the people think, without any kind of scientific rigor. The other person said, I didn't read the study, but I doubt this reflects reality.
And what made some YouTubers famous is a sentence saying, I don't have any proof, but I don't have any doubt. And with some illegal funding, they are being very famous. They are not ashamed at all. And they are saying this in the media. Why? Because they are legitimated. They feel legitimated, and they are not questioning the product or the result of the studies, of research, and they don't question the result. They question the basis of the production of knowledge, the processes, the procedures of knowledge, and which is the basis of this processing of knowledge. This is a rational and legal basis, the same basis which is within the foundation of the institutions regulating life. Democracy, we are talking about justice, we're talking about the educational systems. All of them are based on the same legal and rational basis, and the institutions are being questioned. And practically daily now we see some people questioning the action of the public prosecutor's office, and also people questioning actions by the UCO from the Civil Guard Service or the police. We are questioning their action. We are questioning the work of the security services. And we are questioning the basis, legal and rational basis of our institutions. So we are questioning not only the functioning of them, but also the guarantees that they offer to citizens. And this is reaching the university. Well, I would like to criticize myself as well. I'm not going to talk about critics about the media or the security services. I'm going to be critical with the academia, the academy. Maybe we made mistakes. A book has been published where two authors, North American authors, speak of civil theories, and they say that academic militancy harmed them. This is possible, but this problem can be a problem in the functioning of democracy, but you cannot question everything and dynamite the basis of our present society and democracy. But the diagnosis or the prevention is maybe pessimistic. Okay, we are working at an academic level, and if we speak of aporophobia, causes of reasons of poverty, we are not going to question everything. But okay, we have to be optimistic, proactive, and go on working. And I am proud of the new logo of the University of Murcia. Now they say the heart together with knowledge. I think that knowledge will be more legitimated together with the heart. This means love and adhesion to the fundamental values of democratic countries and right states. And we have to defend this from the public university with our research. And we also do it with intervention from the social action. And something that can help us understand reasons of aporophobia. When we started with the Office of Social Action, it was launched or started by the pandemic crisis. We treated some cases of vulnerability in the field of the university. And I would like you to understand which is the profile of students attending or visiting the office. I'm talking about at the University of Murcia, there are more women than men studying at the University of Murcia. This is a trend at a global level, practically. And women exceed the university, superior education. More often, it's more or less 55% of women, 45% of men. But at the Social Attention Office, we help mostly women students, and we try to understand why. And then we realized that especially among university students and in general in the social studies, asking for help is stigmatized, most of all for socioeconomic reasons. And the men students, the male students, didn't arrive to our office because they are more stigmatized, and even more if they are at university. And why is this so stigmatized? Because children, well, boys and girls, are told, as in Barbie Mattel publicity, they can be whatever they want. It depends on them. But if it's not possible, if in the end this is not possible, they think they have blame for it. And why is a person poor? Everybody thinks, because we are told so, that this person has not worked enough and this person has not worked hard enough. In these dynamics and social conventions, we have to work and fight against phenomena such as aporophobia to make awareness against these stereotypes, and moving on to a society which is still tolerant in spite of certain situations. And the university has a lot to do, and we have a key role with persons we are forming and we are training mainly, and also in the whole of the society. Thank you. Thank you very much, Marcos, for this positioning, very clarifying opinion. And we're talking of a crisis of knowledge, of confidence on research and studies, not only scientific research, but also the work of social sciences. I would like to defend the media as well, because, not all not all what looks like media is the media, and there is a problem there as well. Thank you very much. Maybe, we interchanged a critical question with negationism, and we would like to start from the research, our experience in favor of the fight against aporophobia. María García, civil guard from the team Redo, and last but not least, And you also know this problem regarding the security services, the hate crime, penalization, intentionality, and under denouncement. And you are working with all this. So, well, the starting question is precisely this, about your experience in the observatories of hate crimes in the region of Murcia, and what have you observed regarding hate crimes challenges in the region of Murcia, where we are conscious and we know, we are aware, and we were ashamed because there have been some hate crimes not long ago. Please. Thank you very much, Lucía. I would like to thank you all for giving me the opportunity and the Civil Guard Service to participate in this panel discussion from our institution. Thank you to EAPN at the national and regional level, and also I'm glad to be part of this wonderful table and panel discussion where I can explain to you our activity and also fighting against aporophobia. Thank you to my boss, Nicolás, who will support us, and with his visibility, well, he participates as well today. From the Civil Guard Services, a few years ago, the REDO teams were created as a response to hated crimes in all provinces of Spain. These teams, apart from researching, people working there are acting with sensibilization, awareness, and also training. It was necessary to train the security services and the civil guards services to raise awareness regarding the attention to victims and helping sometimes, which is so necessary. And we were lucky to be part some years ago of a project, CISDO, at a European level, and within the region of Murcia, the Civil Guard Service gave us the opportunity to meet persons forming part of associations of the third sector and showing their activities in the social sector. And from that project and those meetings, monthly meetings, the Civil Guard Services and synergies which aroused and some other components of security forces participated, such as national police, we could foster these links and tools which were created to fight hate crimes and also, of course, against aporophobia. I am very proud, really, to have been part of this project. And what is more important, we have created a regional observatory against hate crimes. It is true that it is a recent observatory, but it is working, and we will be able to prevent, most of all, hate crimes and give visibility and voice to the victims of this type of crimes. I would also like to explain to you that the work of the Civil Guard Service is not only researching but also accompanying victims and offering the resources which are there And in a way, these victims maybe don't know about them. We give advice, we accompany them. All of these with the aim to perform a good research and to give the information to judges and also public prosecutors in this case, and so that the victim feels that they are accompanied with the security forces. And in this observatory, well, I have to say, by the way, we are part of this observatory together with the University of Murcia, and we are very proud and very thankful to be part of the observatory together with the university. And without them, it would be impossible for us to be there. And it is a tool which is a challenge for us, very important one. Within this entity, we are going to generate or create meeting places where we can all together work on this field and being coordinated, fighting against these hate crimes, this type of crime. This is cross work. And in the panel discussion, what measures do you think are better to prevent hate crimes? If there are any measures? Well, within the observatory, we try to create meeting places where we can generate synergies, collaboration within entities of the third sector, most of all in the civil society, and together with the security forces. And speaking of measures to fight against this, would be in a way optimizing or having the biggest number possible of data to analyze and study in individual cases and also victims and authors. So this would be a good tool. And also prevent, raise awareness, educate, and make people conscious against discrimination, violence, and intolerance. We can establish alliances and collaborations together with associations of the third sector and institutions, and create relations between associations to work in the network. Is there something? Have you got a title for today? Well, we are working on that. Lucía, we are working on that. Okay, we will investigate a bit. Well, I would like to connect directly with, we haven't got a lot of time, and we are linked. All four of you, are linked. María, Jesús has a presentation. When we speak of aporophobia within these crimes, we would like to know why people don't denounce. And we have compared this with a shaming situation, lack of communication, and we are going to speak of this and explain the causes, the reasons, and from your different points of view, please try to encourage people. These crimes are not often denounced, and we are addressing this problem with infra-detection and infra-confidence, which is infra-denouncing. Well, at a visual level, all of you can see what it is. You only see the point of the iceberg of what is happening. So we have to create strategies so that when we collect data and analyze them, the qualitative analysis is the important one. The quantitative is a minimum analysis, and we cannot collect or study what the data we didn't collect. So with the cases we have to analyze why people don't denounce. Maybe the lack of present cases. There is not a lot of confidence in institutions. Some people think the institutions won't help them, they won't believe them. And there's a problem of intersectionalities. Poverty is usually linked to other discrimination problems, anti-Roma people, LGBTI phobia, etc. So the victims are afraid, or maybe they really don't believe that they are going to be helped by institutions. And there have been also some studies related to this inefficacy. For instance, in the video we saw yesterday, it was explained.
Motivo de discriminación.
So, and then under detection, in this we have this all the law enforcement agencies and the legal bodies. Infra detection means that when we receive the case, the people that address the report firsthand, sometimes it's difficult to detect that this is a hate crime. And then in a hate crime, what motive of discrimination we need to investigate. So if someone says, I've been hurt, then I would go and search what kind of injury that is. But also I need to investigate the motivation, the discriminatory reason. And this requires training both at the initial point, but also ongoing for all judges, legal teams, and law enforcement agencies, and all the people that receive the citizens at the first line. This is basic. This is needed, because otherwise we will not be able to detect this kind of crimes. Then also the coordination we have with law enforcement agencies, with the real teams, is basic. It's basic to have a constant ongoing communication, to share the reports, to see how we can make more efficient investigations. What motivations lead us to discern that this is a hate crime? All these things need to be investigated together. So also because there is this infra-trust. In our training, show not only how the public prosecutor works, but we also give technical tools such as the legal setting of the European framework for human rights, where we have tools to fight against infra-detection and under-detection and under-trust. There are tools to research not only the crime, but also the motivation and the discrimination. And I would like to finish by the under-trust that we give the victims. I'm making a criticism of our work, criticism to all law enforcement agencies, because there are many things we need to improve in terms of protecting the victims. The victims of hate crimes have an emotional impact. And in these kind of crimes, all psychologists agree that it is more intense, because if I am robbed tomorrow, I will be more careful with my wallet. But if I receive an aggression because of my social condition, of my condition of poverty, or I suffer an aggression because of my race or my origin, this is not something that I can change. And so the feelings and the sensations of a victim who suffers from these kind of crimes because of their origin, their ethnic origin, goes through different phases. I always like to finish my interventions in the trainings to give all the phases that the victim goes through to explain why the underreport happens and the fear these victims suffer. That is to say, the sociological impact they suffer. This is a slide that I always give the prosecutors that are specialized in this, and I read word by word all the things that a victim goes through. And this slide is about a homeless person that is sleeping one night, and this person suffers an aggression. But there's also the people who are do not only suffer an aggression. For example, they get their sleeping bag robbed. If you rob a sleeping bag from a person that only has a sleeping bag, this can make the person to suffer commotion, incredulity, negation, rage, panic attack, fear, resentment, frustration, anxiety, uncertainty, sense of shame and guilt, humiliation, sadness, solitude. These are the words we should all integrate in ourselves, the people working in this field, to understand the situation of the victims when they come to us. And now, as a conclusion, with the word aporophobia, I have made the summary of all the things that we should be working to try to fight this criminal phenomenon. Luz has made a very important announcement regarding the importance of collecting statistical data, because it is about visualization and about presenting data to the institutions. If the data are not robust, then remember that the analysis that remember that most of the data are hidden. But if we bring this data in symposiums, our task will be much better to accomplish. Okay, so under-reporting is going to be part of this discussion, part of this conversation, because, of course, there are some parallelisms between gender violence reporting, how this takes a lot of work, because there is a lot of re-victimization, and how society and women have had to do a lot of work to make a visible situation where we felt ashamed and guilty, and where we felt guilty. And so, but at some point, the society stopped being complicit with those sexist aggressions. We started to report to police. We started to build an ethic, an aesthetic, and an attitude against the violence against women. Is this something we can also incorporate in the fight against hate crimes? And what about if we take responsibility in aporophobia, so that the people are not re-victimized, even though this entails a lot of complexity? And of course, this will entail that we all, renounce a certain privileges. I hope I haven't been very personal in my exposition, but perhaps we need to deconstruct some prejudices that we ourselves have, right? Well, Lucía, I think the comparison you made, because of the victim and the type of impact they receive, it's true that the following that the monitoring we've done in fight against women, we have had to fight a lot against negationism. We made the new law in 2004, and now we have a specialized court. Well, this kind of work is the one that we, from the Public Prosecutor Office, say that we have to do. We said that this is the model we need to follow, because the victims of hate crimes are also very numerous. Any of us can be a victim, because if disease, age, and capacities are included, then we can all suffer this kind of hate crime. So, and also fighting negationism is very similar, because people who deny the existence of sexism also deny homophobia, phobia against Roma people, etc. There's people who say, I have many gypsy friends, I have many, yeah. So they say, because they say that, but then if these people have to give a service to gypsy people, for example, they have a prejudice and they give different kind of treatment. So the prejudice, even if it's not a crime, it exists. So the parallelism you draw is very correct. Okay, so Luz, what do you have to say? Yes, María Jesús, I love what you said. This is something very important. The reason why victims often do not report is often the mistrust they have in the institutions. And from this Guardia Civil Guard of Murcia, we do this work. We try to visualize our work. We say that there is people who are specialized in attending these kind of victims. We give training to our colleagues to give a correct treatment to the victims. And it's important to say that it's not easy to reach the victim, especially when the victim might feel that they are not a victim of a hate crime. That is why this is a work that we need to do together, supporting each other as we are doing today, and remembering that we need to speak. We need to inform what is a hate crime, who can be a victim, and also try that the society trusts the institutions, because we really are working very hard ongoingly so that the victim receive the treatment they deserve, and that we put an end to this kind of crimes. Marcos and Sara, do you want to say something before we receive questions from the audience? How not to re-victimize? Yes, taking on what Luz said from third sector society and our Roma Secretariat in particular, this is our work. Our work is very much connected with the idea of how to empower the victim, to empower them so that they know and they can identify the rights they have and how they are articulated so that they can defend themselves from certain situations. I remember one of the cases that we work in our organization. This is from 2016. I had the slides. Marcelo, can you maybe show it? This is about how we can fight underreporting, and also how in third sector we find certain situations and how we deal with them. Here in this case of the slide, very quickly, I wanted to tell about it because it's a case that brings together aporophobia, intersectionality, and also anti-Roma sentiment. So this is a very brutal case. This is a case we found, and we made an intervention not only from the anti-Roma organization but also from other organizations, although the victims were Roma women. And here, in order to understand this case, I'm not going to go very deep into it, but perhaps it's important to understand this intersectional discrimination and how our work in the anti-Roma, how we understand our work at the Roma Secretariat, and how intersectional discriminatory is different from multi-dimensional discriminatory. This is intersectionality has to do with all the factors that derive into a concrete intersection, and how this concrete intersection creates its concrete type of discrimination. The case we know of, so that we understand this difference, is the case of Roma women. This is an exclusive factor, is the fact of being a woman in a patriarchal society. But if we add the ethnic factor, that is the fact that they belong to one of the ethnic minorities that suffer, that are more negatively stereotyped in the European Union, this derives a situation as this kind of this situation as the one that I'm showing. This happened in the Plaza Mayor in Madrid. This was in the context of a football game between Atletico Madrid and the PSV Eindhoven. And what happened was that a group of hooligans started to insult this group of Roma women who were medicating in the Plaza Mayor. Now, the key point here is how these hooligans were insulting them. They started to behave by throwing them coins and asking them in exchange that they dance. At some point, these football hooligans started chanting racist songs against them. They also threw food to them, and there was a moment of maximum tension where they started to physically to make physical aggressions against the women with kicks and blows. But the citizens made an intervention quickly in social media and different media. And as I said earlier, this case is a paradigm because it shows how, or the antagonism between the victim and the aggressor. The victim is a woman, is a Roma, is a poor woman. She is medicating and she is in a situation of hopelessness. And then you have the contrast with the perpetrator, who's a man, who's non-Roma, who are Dutch, who are wealthy and act on a basis of racial supremacy. So this is the biggest contrast in power in this case. So we made different organizations made an accompaniment. I can speak about the work we did. We reported this case to the public prosecutor. We made a report to the PSV football team, also to the port secretariat in Spain and the Dutch embassy. So the different actions had different aspects. But it's important to remark that we activated international cooperation to give an effective response to this case. So there was a victim. So the importance was that there was a victim that was not re-victimized, and she was accompanied. That's why the importance of the work of the Roma Secretariat. So, and also the fact that there is a society that is not complicit, right? Marcos also, in the context of under-reporting, very briefly, because the audience also wants to ask some question, please.
La infradenuncia está muy...
Well, the underreporting, I think, is very much related with the social perception of the crime. So the type of crime in this case. This happened also with gender crimes and gender violence. The perception we have today is very different than the one that we had 30 years ago. And this is also happening today with bullying. There are very important campaigns in education to change the perception of these behaviors, so that the victim is not made guilty or ashamed, but so it's very important that we assign the guilt and shame to the perpetrators. And society needs to understand that they have to be punished, and that these behaviors should be punished, so that the victims feel empowered to report.
I give floor to the intervention of the attendants here at the hemicycle of the University of Murcia, and also online. This is one of our aims also in this European Symposium against Aporophobia. The participation, not only with questions, but maybe you can add something to what we are speaking about, because some of you or many of you work with social entities, organizations, associations, and also, well, people from other territories following us online. There's somebody who wants to speak here at the hemicycle, and I also have an online question for you, for all of you. Well, there is a mistake, a very big mistake in history, because we think that hatred, violence, and other similar concepts were there and emerged spontaneously. We think they are not the consequence of systematic hatred from the historical point of view and from the point of view of societies. So I mean, the laws, the legislation has been a hatred legislation for a long time. There are very precise cases, but in general, I can speak also of other realities, and from the Roma people reality. In the year 49 appeared the first pragmatics against the Roma people, giving them 30 days to abandon the country in times of the Catholic king and queen. And this still happens in Spain 500 years after that, until the moment when a law appears obliging the civil guards to prosecute and pursue the Roma people in the streets because they belong to this community. This hatred has disappeared in the legislation, but in the Congress, in the Parliament, Spanish Parliament, meeting the King of Spain, I told him, His Majesty, historically, from the point of view of the Spanish Kingdom and Spain as a historical land and country, avoiding the Middle Ages from the times of the Catholic king and queen, your father and you are the only two kings of the whole history in Spain who did not sue the Roma people. And this is a fact, a historical fact. And this is part of more than 250 norms since the Catholic times to the Spanish Constitution, which was approved. And this law from when the law obliged the civil guards to sue the Roma people, considering if you don't have the bill for the clothes you are wearing, then you are going to be sued. And this has happened for a long time. We are speaking here of a historical fact, and in a way, from the institutions, we can change that. So you mean we have to reverse all these concepts? Well, I have an online question directly for Luz, María García. How do you address from the REDO team the cases of victims of hatred regarding persons who are not regular, who are irregular here in the country? How do you help them? And these victims who are more vulnerable, are they outside this type of protection? In the case of under-reporting, how to report. This also happens with sexist violence. So please, Luz. Well, from the civil guard services, in general, not only REDO, we treat them spectacularly. To any type of victim is not important if they are men, women, old, young, if they have, let's say, their papers, regular papers or not, in Spain. So really I don't understand, well, I can understand fear in victims, but people who come to report these crimes, any type of crime, not only hate crimes, we treat them spectacularly. We always tried. And well, my boss is here and he could comment on this. Well, it's very important. This question is very important to stop people thinking about what is going to think with me in my situation. Well, the treatment given to victims is the treatment any person deserves. A person arriving at an institution to give a police report or a report in their situation, well, we have to have a look if, maybe they have a fear because they are afraid because they are not regular citizens, and maybe this is another reason for under-reporting. Because some of the persons or many of the persons who are victims of this type of crimes are going to be treated spectacularly by our institutions, independently of their situation of regularity or irregularity in Spain. And I think related to this, well, this is not fake news, but there are two realities. A person who has an irregular situation in Spain and they are victims of this kind of hate crime, they can fear to be interned in a building with the immigration law where they can be closed there, and maybe they don't want to go for a police report to avoid that. But we cannot doubt of the work of the law enforcement offices and departments who are always wanting to encourage them to report, and also giving them a priority and also the administrative situation is not a priority when a person has an injury or has received crime, a hate crime. The administrative situation is something different, and this does not only happen with persons who are irregular at the moment, but also people from the LGTBI group. They maybe don't want to unveil their situation, their gender situation, and that's why they don't report their hate crime that they received. And well, we are talking of protection to the victims. We have some more questions, and well, now going to speed a little bit to close this first panel discussion, which is really interesting. Please, 2 more questions. Well, first, thank you very much. I would like to talk as well of irregular situations. This is a problem of the legislation. When the hate crimes legislation started, we, from the third sector, have proposed to stop these administrative questions, and the legislation has not included this. This is the legislator who did not introduce this case, and it is important. And my question is, hate crimes for association, where the victim of hate crime is not protected, but is related to persons who can be victims of hate crimes for being, for instance, immigrants or poor. And I would like to talk with or ask Luz, how can we act if we are harassed or we receive an aggression regarding this? And well, there is another question. I would like to say, well, speak of something which is important for me. Nowadays, with our situation, political situation of a fight, of speeches, and very antagonic visions, the fact of developing brave laws is important but complicated, and there is a phenomenon which is increasing probably, is that the victims maybe sometimes harass other victims, and I think that is very serious. So persons who are in this situation can maybe not report their own cases, but harass other people in their situation. Well, what he is talking about is a really complex situation. And last but not least, please, the last question. Thank you. Well, I think regarding the last question, I think it's a consequence of the whole of the situation in our society. Those who are here hate this situation, and now, after listening and knowing the work done by the prosecutors with the Secretariado Gitano and other associations, and also the law enforcement services, I would like to ask them to that even if the associations, we can work on this and try and encourage the victims we try to reinforce them and encourage them to report, but we know some neighborhoods, precise neighborhoods, where there are some practices of chaos, or I don't know what they are, but they arrive there as in an American film, and then they want all the neighborhood to feel disprotected, and they feel that they don't have any rights. So you who are working very seriously and all the guarantees for the citizens, I would pray that you promote what you do, and that you give information to those groups of the police or of the law enforcement services who are working in a way which is not acceptable. We saw this in the cyclist sport event in the last few years, because they were attacking people in a demonstration. So these neighborhoods, I pray you really that from your responsibility point of view, you explain to your colleagues of the law enforcement services, these persons have a lot of problems, and they should work in a positive way and not humiliating these people in these neighborhoods. Thank you. This is a suggestion, a proposal. We are speaking of under-reporting a spiral of hatred, which is increasing, and especially how to protect people who are working with the victims and stopping this spiral of violence. To close, just to finish, well, regarding discrimination and hatred crimes for association or for mistake, this requires profound research, so that an activist in civil rights, for instance, working in protecting people in situations of poverty, well, they have to show and demonstrate that they are working with them. So this is a technical complexity which can be addressed and dealt with, and we have to research on this. We also have problems with hatred crimes for mistake. Sometimes someone mistakes someone for somebody from a group, and there was a girl, for instance, last year with short hair, and they said that she was a lesbian, and then they attacked her, and in this case, well, we have to go on reporting, researching more seriously, because this discrimination exists. And the homophobe, the aporophobe has to be punished, but not a person who is a homeless person. You have to go to the situation of the discrimination that caused this fact. María Jesús explained it very well at the beginning, and she said any person could be a victim of a hate crime from any group. And we are specialized in the REDO team, and when we start with the report, we take this person to a place where they can be comfortable, because they are speaking of things or facts that are not known maybe by their family even, and they are victims of a crime, and we encourage them to report. And the more details we have on the harassment, the better, because in this way we can discover if there is a hate crime, a real hate crime, or if this has been committed by association, by mistake, and there's some other special programs so that prosecutors and judges can know really if this is a hate crime and help these persons if they have a social problem. We make them contact the third sector associations, and most of all, after that, we accompany the victims. So we don't abandon them. We inform them of the process, of the procedures, when they have to go to a trial, when they have to testify, and we try to have a relationship with them until they can normalize their situation. And in this sense, I would like to say, well, really, the law enforcement services are working on prevention of crimes, and we treat the citizens in a very good way in all situations. Thank you. We are going to finish. Well, it is difficult to close this panel discussion. Well, we could leave it in standby a little bit. So it's not finished, not yet finished, because our social responsibility is not finished to work against underreporting, and also we have to report also, and stop having prejudices in our society. And well, I know that we are going to meet each other in the future, all of us. Well, we leave this in standby. Thank you, really, to all of you for participating. We are going to continue with the symposium. Just the first part is finished. I don't know if you want to say goodbye one by one. Well, I'm glad to say goodbye, and I would like to thank all the forum, the organizers, and also the attendants and the people interested, persons interested in these matters and in our services of crime, hate crimes. You can find us. Well, I would also thank you for letting me participate. And I would like to thank EAPN to collaborate in this space to fight aporophobia. And yes, we leave it in standby because, well, we will meet in the future. Just quickly, thank you. I thank the organization and also your company in this nice panel discussion. Luz, well, I would also like to thank you, and I'm very grateful to participate in as a representative of the Civil Guard services. After this, we have 2 workshops. One by EAPN, introduced by Concha Nicolás, responsible person of communication of the association Columbares, and the detection of discrimination by Aporophobia, introduced by Gonzalo Caro, coordinator of institutional relations and communication of home. Well, we also have a kind of a breakfast where we can have a coffee break, talk to each other, and we will meet here at 12:45 to start with the following panel discussion. Thank you.